Hey everyone, this is our Invitational, and nice Grim Monolith, Worm Coil. I think Grim Monolith is better than Worm Coil as an enabler because there's plenty of like really busted, like huge spells that you can be playing. And Grim Monolith is sick, but Worm Coil is that huge spell that I want to be playing. So this is a really tough pack here. It's definitely between these two. I think Grim Monolith is probably the better pick, even though Worm Coil is absolutely disgusting, because there's a chance I can get some kind of white removal that can really mitigate the Worm Coil and Splash Tip. So I think I'm going to go with that. Real quick though, this is our Invitational. Essentially, this is our Xmage Cube group. And what we do is we organize cubes on our Discord group, which I'll try to leave a link for in the YouTube comment section. And this is a round robin, 7 rounds of playing. We play everyone else in the draft during that couple weeks, save our decks and whatnot, and yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So that was the first pick. Second pick, another good set of cards here. I think I kind of want to take Tolarian Academy and maybe just go really hard in the artifacts. Just try to take every artifact in the cube and take every little talisman. Hopefully maybe wheel the Tangle Wire here. Glenalendra's also really strong. Baleful Strix is strong. Ophiomancer's strong. Talisman, Monastery Mentor. But I know there are a number of 2-mana rocks in this cube, and I already have the Grim Monolith. And I like having these colorless decks that can play a bunch of different colors. You know, they're either like Planeswalker ramp, or you're just playing huge artifacts or whatever it may be. I might abandon the Tolarian Academy if I end up not getting enough artifacts for it, but I think you kind of want to aim high at this point, especially with Pack 2. And alright, since I already have the Grim Monolith, I'm probably going to want to play a number of other stones as well. This is a pretty decent, like, direction pack of sorts, but... So, here's another interesting direction. I could take the opposition and go hard into that, but I don't really want to abandon the Tolarian Academy. I'm not necessarily abandoning it by doing that, but I really want a lot more creatures than anything else. Cold Steel Heart isn't exactly the best second pick, but it's kind of more what I want to be doing. More stones, etc. Otherwise, there's not like a lot of great stuff in here for what I could be doing. There's Lightning Bolt's a good card. Wasteland, I think, is a lot better than people give it credit for. Marsh Flats, opposition's obviously insane, but I don't know. It's really tough for me to like play a deck that I know is probably not going to have a lot of tokens with Tolarian Academy, Grim Monolith, pass something that's really good with Tolarian Academy, and then just kind of go hard into another direction. And I might not even be playing heavy blue, whereas Cold Steel Heart I probably will end up playing no matter what. And here's another interesting decision in that regard. Do I take the stones, or do I take something like a Torrential Gear Hulk and potentially get, I don't know, some kind of instant to play off of it? A lot of good ones too. Maybe I can get like a Mystic Confluencer or something like that. There's also both the talismans as well, but I think I'll be able to get more of these, and I think something like the Torrential Gear Hulk might be more important, even if I do get plenty of other options for it. I don't really want to tinker into a Gear Hulk, but I think these are pretty replaceable overall. The talisman and the lens, I think I might be able to wheel one. If I don't, that's a different issue. Whereas this is like a pretty good card to ramp into, decent card to cheat into, overall solid card, especially if I can play it off of like just a couple actual lands of like Tolarian Academy and whatnot. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then we have this where we kind of have two different good directions to go into. I mean, there's Misty Rainforest, but I don't love. There's also Emrakul, which is very strong. It's a massive card, and I don't know how often I'll be able to play it, but if I have Tolarian Academy, there's a good chance I'll be able to play off that. And there's also Brainstorm, which is less good right now, could end up being very strong throughout the course of the draft. I think I want Emrakul, understanding that I could just have too much top-end fat, and past what is, as of now, a pretty mediocre Brainstorm. And, you know, I don't really need to prioritize fetches in this type of deck because I don't have a lot of colored costs so far, and I probably won't either.
I could just play basics if I'm going to be playing multiple different colors and whatnot. But in that regard, there's also the idea of like, do I take Scalding Tar now because there's a chance I'll be blue-red, or do I take Mimic Vat because it's an artifact and it could just be good here anyways. Maybe I'll get some Wraths that will be able to fill it up, and or if they kill my Torrential Gear Hulk, or if I get their Warm Coil Engine, I can put it on this. I think I've talked myself into that. Now, Scalding Tarn, I think, is also a pretty decent pick here, but I don't know if I'm definitely going to be playing red or if I'm going to need that type of effect as much as Mimic Vat could just be good with all the artifacts that I have here so far. So I do like that quite a bit. And then here, kind of for the same reason, like Ratchet Bomb is not incredible, but it's an artifact, and that is seemingly going to be a lot more important for what I'm doing versus the other options of what could be happening. So in this pack, there's also the idea of taking Through the Breach, which is kind of appealing, actually, especially with a Mimic Vat. You know what? I think Through the Breach might have a little bit more of a ceiling, potentially, if I get certain cards, and like a Mirror Battlesphere could be good with it. If the Warm Coil Engine somehow wheels, whereas Ratchet Bomb is very good, and it would be a good option to have, but I don't think I'm going to like necessarily be lacking it. Ooh, here's an interesting one, the Antiquities War. Now, I just patched the Ratchet Bomb, and now I'm passing the Powder Keg, so that's kind of rough, but Antiquities War is kind of a new one, but it's also one that's very, very, very interesting in terms of what we could be doing with it. Now, it adds to my non-artifact count, so it's a little bit worse in that regard, but it also means if I take a bunch of Signets that I'll have a different type of win condition to go off of that. Let's go with Flyer and a Cat. It's good with all the things I'm doing so far. Whereas this is a lot less good, but, you know, I might just take the Izzet Charm because it's, like, decent enough. I could also hate the Reclamation Sage because it absolutely destroys me, but I think that's a lot worse than just taking a decent card for your own deck versus taking something that you might not even face or might only wreck you one game. I don't really want to take in the white cards. Morphlink's I don't think that card's very good. And everything else here is just kind of whatever. Nice. This Talisman's going to be awesome. Exactly what I need. I think it's better than the Tangle Wire. I think Tangle Wire is decent, but I don't think I'm playing that type of deck where I want to be cutting everybody off. I mean, I do the Tolarian Academy, but I definitely want to be playing more Signets and could be splashing black for Tutor or Mind Twist. Definitely am potentially playing red. It's a Signet. And then there's this pack where you can kind of go the direction of having a Dreadbore or a Cursed Squirrel. And I think, I gotta make a quick decision here. Also, these cards destroy my deck. I think the Dreadbore might be just a little better in terms of like killing huge stuff or just anything overall. And Planeswalkers too. Nice, so the lens will be sweet. Big fan of that. I like it more than, even if Sword is technically sometimes better with creatures, I don't have a lot of creatures that can wear it. Whereas I do have, I mean, with the Antiquities War, I kind of have to, or I'm really, really, really heavily incentivized. Ooh, or Greater Gargadon, which was better? I think Gargadon might be better because I have the Mimic Vat. That might be a mistake, but we'll keep that in mind. Ooh, I should just take one. Oh, I took Rancor by accident. Whatever. I don't think I was going to play red-white anyways. So that's all good. Alright, this is a tough one here. I have plenty of big, like, high-end stuff, so I don't really need the Consecrated Sphinx, even though it's very good. There's also an Ulamog, though, which is very good with my Through the Breach. And I can play it off to Larian Academy. I think I kind of want that more than I want anything else in here. Even over Coalition Relic. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stones. I'm going to just put this in the sideboard for now. Just make sure I'm going straight blue-red with this. I have a Through the Breach. Might not play the Greater Gargadon. It's not an artifact, so I can't tinker it in, but does this sack? Oh man, with Mimic Vat? Oh jeez. Jeezy Louisey, huh? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I have 5 artifacts so far. I think I'll be able to get more stones. It's tough passing this Coalition Relic. I don't really want to do that, but I think it's a pretty decent option to take this Ulamog here and just be okay with not having any kind of great Tinker target if that's something that comes around eventually. I like Hangerback here quite a bit. It's just like a kind of overall 2 mana artifact spell that can be bigger. I can shove a bunch of mana into it later on. If it dies and my Antiquities wore out, it's good in that regard. It's not great with Mimic Vat, but that's okay. I like it more than Smuggler's Copter because I'm not going to turn Smuggler's Copter on a lot. Ponder's pretty good here, but I think I need more artifacts and I do need just blue spells. That might be a mistake though. Same with ignoring Mana Leak. Chandra's also insanely good. And maybe passing Chandra's is really, really, really bad. I think that's probably a mistake. I probably should just be taking Chandra, just be taking and playing the good cards. Potentially wheeling hair back or just getting other stones and being okay with passing in artifacts. I do have a decent amount right now at this point for what I'm going to be doing. And Hangerback is very good. I might even wheel Hangerback. This pack is really, really strong for a lot of different decks, but I'm not going to depend on that. Nice. Tinker. Even though I don't have a Tinker deck yet, it's just too good to pass up. Because I might not play the Gargadon. I might not even play this Emrakul, but I'll definitely get more stones and whatnot. This card is really strong too. I think just there are enough good artifacts potentially left that it's worth taking Tinker because of how strong it is. Spellscape would be nice to wheel, but it's not realistic. Control Magic is very good. Very, very good against me, but also not realistic. Mimic Vat's also kind of interesting. I mean, Tinker with Mimic Vat is also kind of interesting too, because you can Tinker that out potentially when you have a ton of mana, and then through the Breach later on. I think Tinker, even at Pack 2, because of the deck I'm in and trying to draft, is too good to pass. Kind of gives me a lot of different directions. And I do have the Gear Hulk. It's not the best thing to tinker into. I do want other stuff to tinker into, but it's one more cheat option for potential cards I could get later on. Even though Burning seems really good here, I think it's going to wheel, and Strip Mine is like one of those cards that I am incapable of passing, especially if I get a Crucible World at some point. That'd be a really great card to get. Pithing Needle is really strong, or it's strong enough and it's an artifact, but I don't really want to take it at this point over Strip Mine. Strip Mine's going to be a bit more impactful. Burning again, there's another effect, and these cards usually wheel. Treasure Cruise, Looter, Supreme, all decent, but they don't have the same type of ceiling that Strip Mine has. I'm liking this deck a decent amount. I kind of want like 4 more artifacts, like maybe like Assault Monolith. There's still a lot of cards to look at though, so I have a pretty strong feeling that this deck is really, really going to pan out. It seems pretty nice so far. Like, I should probably just take the Talisman here, but top is also pretty enticing too. But I don't know. Again, I don't have a lot of shuffle effects, so it's not that great. It's just kind of like pay 1 mana to constantly spin, whereas the Talisman's going to be actively good. It taps for red mana. Hopefully I'll get more 4s and different effects like that, but pretty much every artifact I get for this deck will kind of exponentially build on the previous ones. It's just the issue of now getting red removal for mass wiping off the board, but also, you know, there's like a number of cards that I kind of need. Like, I kind of want a big, better artifact to ramp into, to tinker into. I'd probably play this. Ooh, actually, there's Sneak Attack, though. Sneak Attack is pretty strong. Could potentially be, like, really insane for what I'm doing. There's a lot of really good stuff here. There's Sneak Attack, there's a Rolling Earthquake, there's 3-man's pretty decent, too. I think even though it's kind of, like, a little sketchy, I do have these 2 guys, which are very good with Sneak Attack. And potentially I can get, like, maybe Time Spiral. That'd be pretty cool with it. I just think the ceiling's a little too high for what I'm doing to avoid it. Especially if I get, like, some more stuff to, like, find off of Antiquities War. Yeah, Sneak Attack seems pretty cool there. So in that regard, you know, usually I would consider Dragon Lord or Primeval Titan for Sneak Attack, but it's not really going with the rest of what we want to here, and I have plenty of massive things to sneak in. You know, a lot of 2-card one kill sneak combos. So Sorcerer's Spyglass is kind of like the needle earlier, but there's nothing here that I really want to take over it. It's a kind of good version of removal. When it does turn off, the Antiquities War can blast it and also can find it. More positives than negatives with Sorcerer's Spyglass for what I'm doing right now. Ooh, show and tell. I do like that. So I'm like a sneak, show, through the breach, tinker deck, which seems awesome. Big fan of that right now. Still a chance I won't play the Garg. Because it's interesting too, because like there's like potential plays where I could like show in Ulamog, second to the Gargadon, Mimic Vet and Ulamog in, have like a hasty Ulamog, or just have sneak attack Ulamog or whatnot. But yeah, I think Sneak's gonna be. I mean, Show and Tell's gonna be really good. I know there's gonna be a number of drafters who are gonna be trying to play the artifact deck, and in that regard, Academy Ruin seems really cool here because I have the Through the Breach and the sneak attack. So again, I do need another artifact creature. It's not as good with Ulamog or Emrakul. Not even great to get like signets or whatnot, but getting Mimivek's not bad. I don't have any disruption, so that's kind of like a concern. Like, no, I mean, I do have the Is It charm, and that's okay, but... Ooh, the Hangback came back. That's awesome. I almost took this over. What was it? Something better. I think it was the Through the Breach. So I'm glad I took the Through the Breach over this. Hangerback's going to be really good in this deck, I feel. With the Antiquities War as something to tinker off of. Not as good with the sneak attack, but it's going to be a pretty solid, like, early blocker into potential late game mana sink, which I like a lot. Oh man, this pack is disgusting. Jeez. Can I play Bitter Blossom? Not really, huh? I guess I'll take Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl could be really, really strong in certain matchups, especially if I can get a Crucible of World. It'd be really good there. Oh, nice. The Burning came back. Ooh, or the Vorlath Stronghold. Because the Stronghold's also pretty good with the sneak attack again, but... I think that's a little... My mana, I don't think is exactly there, whereas, like, Burning seems like it could be really, really good here as, like, the Wrath variant. And I guess Hazret is a sideboard option? I don't know. It's not great. It's neat, but it's not great. I'm probably not going to need Force Satyr because it's on color, and there's no point in taking the other one. Wow, Tribe Elder last. That is surprising. So this deck is, I think, is pretty strong. Just got a lot stronger by getting a Chase the Mind Sculptor. You know, there are a lot of other great cards in here. There's Crucible of Worlds, there's Thirst, there's Search, there's Umzao's Jit, there's Felden, Grand Coliseum to a degree, Orzhov Signet. But Jace is just incredible. It will find me the things that I need, which makes the rest of the deck work a lot better. You know, it's okay missing out on these, like, cog pieces when you have the engine pieces to find those cog pieces, and just it's a win condition on its own. I have 9 artifacts right now, so I feel pretty good about that count. I do want some more fixing. Cards I probably would cut first would be Greater Gargadon, even though it's kind of interesting. That would definitely be the first one to cut. Otherwise, this deck seems... I just need a really nice Tinker target, and I feel great about this deck. Any good Tinker target, like Torrential Gearhulks, whatever, but any good Tinker target, I feel pretty decent. Though Gearhulk's interesting in that you can target through the breach, which is kind of cool, but I don't think that's overall good enough. I'll just take another Talisman. I still think they're pretty essential for what I'm trying to do here, because I do have all these, you know, things that do want to play off of artifacts, Antiquities War and whatnot, Tolarian Academy, all the artifacts add on to one another. Getting jammed at 2 is not really a bad place to be either, so I feel good in that regard too. There's also Icebridge. Icebridge would be probably the pick. Otherwise, I don't really want to start splashing black at this point. I kind of want to keep my mana pretty simple, considering I don't have any fixing for that matter, other than my my signets and talismans and whatnot. I guess I technically don't have any signets. They're all talismans, but that's all right. Otherwise, this pack is really, really bad for me. Like, it's just Talisman and Tendo. And your Nintendo, ooh, nice. Not a Tinker target, but an amazing card that I'm absolutely definitely going to play, and it's like just going to be so good. Ugin is just a ridiculous card that I'm going to be able to ramp into and play pretty easily a lot of the time. It controls the board, it's a win condition, it works well with all my signets. Pretty ecstatic to be getting Ugin here. This deck just went up like a literal level off of that. I still want like another good creature to sneak in or through the breach in, but it's really not that bad at this point. Like one more and I'm happy. Right now, I'll accept it and deal with it essentially. But I'm probably gonna play 16 lands in this deck because I have so many signets. I don't know what the actual math would be on that. I know a lot of people say like every signet counts as every 2 signets counts as a land. Some people say that. I don't know how much I fully agree with that, but it's not terrible either, I guess. So here's an interesting decision here. I can take the Flames as like a good sideboard option versus a lot of different decks. I can take Thran Dynamo as a big mana card, which actually is kind of appealing because I do have a number of massive spells. I can take Ral Zarek as just kind of like a pretty decent 4-drop, but I don't really love that. I kind of like the Thran Dynamo here and just hope to get one more huge thing. There's a chance I will play this Greater Gargadon. It's not huge, but it's there. I also like Dynamo just because it's another artifact. All the artifacts are really good here. It's something that I can play a 3-mana spell like the Mimic that off of after. It's like not the greatest, but it's definitely not the worst either. Same with this Walking Ballista. Another mana sink like the Hangerback that's also a pretty good defensive card that also can be offensive when I need it to be. It's good with the Tolarian Academy as I can pump a bunch of mana into it. I'm probably going to cut this Greater Gargadon, but I'm not entirely sure yet. Man, this is tough. I think I probably will. It's kind of just a little more cute than good at this point in this deck. Whereas the Ballista's great. The Ballista's going to be menacing. It's going to be something I can play in turn 2. It's going to be good against aggro. It's going to be good against pretty much every deck, other than like ones that can, you know, play Naturalize, I guess, or Disenchant. But even then, I can still get a couple damage off it and quote unquote eat that spell. Nice. Sundering Titan. We got there. We did it. That's me clapping. Oh man, that makes me feel a lot better about this deck. Not gonna lie, I was freaking the fuck out beforehand. Not just kidding, but like, though there's Bosch too. Bosch is really strong as well. I think Sundering Titan is better as a Tinker target, so I think that gives more consideration. It's just better as a sneak target. Bosch is kind of good as like the 3rd or 4th, or you know, the 2nd or 3rd or 4th. I would probably look to cut the Gear Hulk for something like that. And I probably will just have that as my general plan. Cut the Gear Hulk, figure the rest out from there. Because the Gear Hulk isn't really doing much in this deck. Neither is this pack, I guess. So, I don't know. I guess Bouncer is decent as like a sideboard option. Not a great pack for me. A lot of good cards in here. I think people aren't drafting green. I mean, people definitely aren't drafting the artifact deck, but yeah, I'll just take Bouncer and then we could take this Aetherling and have it as kind of like a sideboard option versus like, I don't know, it's probably pretty decent against other control decks or decks with like a, you know, that like we can make that matchup happen. Also, I can like bring it out early enough. Man, my deck seems pretty strong. How am I going to lose these? Easily, he says. Easily. So, I can't move these cards around, so sorry if that's annoying. But I probably will cut... Ooh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. I have to take Crucible, right? Do I have to? Do I have to, or do I just take Thirst for Knowledge? Oh, man. What do I do? What do I do? This is tough. I think I like Crucible because of the Strip Mine and whatnot. And like I guess the Izzet Charm's pretty decent with it, though there's a Signet here too. I have plenty of 2 mana artifacts. This sucks. Felden? No, Felden's probably not great. I think I like Crucible more than I like Torrential Gear Hulk. So we're gonna cut that for now. I still need to make another cut too. I guess I can cut Divest. I mean, I'll take Divest. That card will wreck me. This is a very interesting deck. I could probably cut a Signet out of it too. Thought-Knot Seer. Can I play Thought-Knot Seer? Kinda. I can actually play Thought-Knot Seer fairly well. I don't think I'll play it in this deck, but I will take it. And I will love you. Honestly, I might cut this as a charm. It's not too great. Oath. I should let it go. That card's like not great against me. Though actually it is pretty good because I have a Hanger Back and a Walking Ballista. So I don't have any fixing, but that's fine because a lot of my cards are colorless. Durgaz, maybe? I don't know. It's like kind of cool with the sneak attack. Bosh. Oh man, this deck just went from like 0 to a little more than 0. Okay. I feel like I should be cutting the Is It Charm. First, let's cut all the lands. So we have 27. Put this here, take out the Falcon Wrath, go through everything, make sure we have all the right spells. Okay. Emrakul is probably not great here. So we're going to take that out. Bosch is definitely pretty solid. For Crucible, I do have the Strip Mine, which is really strong. And against, like, I have Dust Bowl 2, which could be decent. I don't love Is It Charm because it's just kind of... Is It Charm worse than all of my talismans? Like, I like all of my 4-mana spells. I don't want to cut any of them. If it wasn't Is It Charm, it'd be Crucible Worlds, but they kind of work well together. Through the Breach is like not crazy with what I have, but it's pretty strong. Just have all these artifacts and whatnot. Same with the Sneak Attack. Is this not a Sneak Attack deck? Do I need the Emrakul to have this be a Sneak Attack deck? What would the other two cards that would cut be if that was the case? I think I need the Walking Ballista and the Hanger Back because I only have 3 creatures I'm sneaking in or through the breaching or show and telling. For that reason, do I cut Crucible for? Because I want the card draw if I have the sneak attack and the through the breach. I have the artifacts for the burning and the planeswalkers. I'm not going to be able to cast Emrakul a lot, but it's also huge, and that's kind of important too, but it's not great as a sneak option. I can't cut Mimic-Vat. Mimic-Vat's insane. So what do I have for like options over here? Alright, we'll see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2-mana ramp spells, and the Thran Dynamo. I think I need all those. I really don't want to cut either of these. Is It Charm might be the cut. It's like fine, but it's definitely one of the more low impact cards. How many artifacts do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's a lot. That's good. Ones I could add would be pretty much just Gear Hulk, which I don't want to do. Because the only targets it has right now is It Charm and Through the Breach. I don't love either of those as consistent targets. So I think I'm going to cut the as a charm. It's kind of underwhelming. I'm going to be tapping out a lot. It does a lot. It's going to be a good card to side in, but it might not be great. I don't know. This might not be right. I just feel like I just cannot cut any of these. They're just so strong. And the Crucible would be the other thing to think about cutting, because the only real interactions I have are like Sundering Titan, you know, Strip Mine, which is obviously insane, but otherwise, or Burning of Zenye. These kind of feel like more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut this just like for now. Have this in here as like another big stupid thing to bring in off of like all these cards, even though it's not great with sneak attack and through the breach, it's still pretty decent. That doesn't feel great either though, but like feels better than the other options. So let's move everything over here that I could be playing. Gargadon, Thought Nuts here, I guess. Not realistically. I guess I could be playing Aetherling. This is going to be the probably not pile right here. And let's go through and evaluate everything against these cards. Torrential Gearhulk. What could be better than? Could be better than Emrakul. Probably not though. Not better than any of these. Could be better than Burning. Not for pack one. I mean, for the game ones. Could be better than Through the Breach. But I think this has more potential. The Through the Breach isn't really great with Bosch. It's great with the other three. I don't think it's better than any of these cards. But it's good with the Antiquities War. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 artifacts. Still pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, never mind. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So, 13 artifacts, though, is still pretty good. Puts them on the bottom. I also have the Dust Bowl, too, though, which makes the Crucible a little more appealing. And for that reason, maybe I should cut something else too. It's gonna have like the outs of having like really gross like Crucible outs of some sort, plus like you know, you fight random discard and things like that, like hymns and mind twists and whatnot. I still don't love it. I'd have to make a cut for it, and there's nothing I really love cutting here. Like the only thing would be like the Burning, but I like the Burning as like a pretty decent wrath for what we're doing, but then it's also good with the Crucible. Like, if I was going to throw in Crucible, I'd want to take out Emrakul, but I don't really want to do that either. Oh man, this is tough. This is a toughie. It is a lot of artifact ramp at 2, but I kind of feel like I need it all. I really want more artifact, but I don't want to get rid of any other cards I have because they're all so good. Too many good cards here, man. You know, I could just not play Dust Bowl in game 1 and just kind of bring it in as a package. So I think I just might go with this for now. Have the Crucible decide into, because it can be very good, I guess. That seems so bad though, not playing the Crucible. And I have so much like pretty decent ramp too.
I don't want to play 15 lands with a strip mine. The strip mine plus the Crucible is so insane. I cannot not play Crucible. I think I should maybe think about cutting through the breach because it's not as good as other options are as a one shot. Like I have these three and they're pretty decent, but it's not nearly as good as other options I have. Is that wrong? I don't know. Because I also have Tinker, Show and Tell, and Sneak Attack. Whereas through the breach, I only have like one potentially one shot kill. This is potentially not as good. But through the breach could be really like it's through the breach is not great against like aggro decks, for example, but it's really good against like certain control decks or whatnot. I think I should consider cutting through the breach out of this, bring it in versus certain decks, because it's like not great with Bosch, right? It's only good with these three, whereas like this is good with those three. This is pretty decent with those three, and this is good with just Sundering Titan and Bosch. Is cutting a talisman better than... I don't think so. I really don't think so. I kind of like this. Because the through the breach is like going to be so awkward sometimes. Like hitting for 7 is not good. Hitting for 6 is not good. It's pretty much only good if I have them at lethal or if I'm getting an Ulamog or the lands. Whereas the other ones are still pretty decent. I mean, the Crucible is not great, but it's also insane with Strip Mine. And it's pretty decent with Dust Bowl. And it's cheaper and it's an artifact. And those things matter too. Whereas through the breach, it's not cheap. It's only good with a couple cards and only a couple of situations. And there's not a situation where I can cast if I don't have the cards. Whereas I can cast a Crucible. I think there are definitely more positives considering the other options I have for cheat effects. I feel pretty strong about this deck. Add some lands here. Suggest 6 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 of each source. That's amazing. Wow, that's actually incredible. This deck is kind of awesome. I mean, it can lose to a lot of pretty reasonable stuff, but at the same time, it also has to play against a lot of stuff too. It's going to be bad against like decks that can go as far into the late game against mine, potentially. If I just draw like a bunch of signets and whatnot, because that's where this deck is going to suffer. If I have to play the top deck game, and I'm just top decking into signet after signet after signet. But if I'm top decking, through the breach in that situation, it's going to be bad there too. But Crucible might not be a bad top deck in that scenario a lot of the time. So we're going to add these. Add, let's add a couple more. I'll put all these in the sideboard. I don't think I'm going to use any of them, but I'd rather just have them there than not. Let's move all these over for the picture. This is annoying. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this, Steve, man. I think this just might have to be the solution. And then we'll put all, I guess, of our other options here, I suppose. I think this is decent enough.
Save as. Is it Invitational? We're gonna do this off screen here. Do this off screen too. Okay, I think that's going to be good. I'm going to log off here now. I'll try to record the matches. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sitting through this. Sorry if my commentary was disjointed. Feel pretty great about this deck. Seems pretty awesome. And yeah, we're going to submit it in just a second. Thanks for watching.